Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2. We are back with Shireen from TakeWhatResonates. And I'm about to start this episode off by talking about facing adversities and overcoming them. We face adversity every single day, and there is no absence of issues in our lives. I'm sure you face yours. Maybe you can experience those issues through some storytelling and how we got to overcome them, how we came on top at the end. So please, Shireen, tell me your perspective. Let's hear it.
Hello guys, I'm back. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 1 of Take What Resonates. And yeah, here we are in episode 2, topic overcoming adversaries, also known as overcoming challenges. Let's begin.
What are some ways that you've faced adversities and you've seen yourself come out on top?
Okay, what are some ways I've faced adversaries and seen myself come out on top? I would say the biggest adversary I faced, once again, I'll talk a little bit about it, but if you want to hear the full thing, guys, I did talk about this story on the YouTube channel, so check it out, which is the big move to Calgary by myself. That one was, because I could say that one was my biggest adversary, because it was the first time I was ever alone, the first time I had to just be dependent rather than codependent. And I would say how I faced that was just like any human. At first, it was challenging. Well, at the beginning, it was exciting. It was new. I was in over my head because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And then as I started to settle into my new place, into Calgary, things were getting good, but reality was kind of like coming in the sense like, okay, what's your next moves, Shireen? How are we going to get bills paid? And like, how are we going to do this overall? Because it's my first time being alone. And I was saying, like any human, it started off good, reality came in, and then fear started to creep. And there was times where I was just like, I got into some self-doubt. I got into like worry and stress because I didn't know what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. But I had faith because one thing I told myself, well, I told my sister because she was worried too before I moved out to Calgary, was like, I have a hustle mindset. I'll figure it out. And that's what I did. Like, I started braiding hair again, even if I didn't like it. I started braiding hair. I started braiding hair again, finding ways to make money. And I got out of my comfort zone and made some connections with people. And those connections took me far. And that's how I overcame that biggest adversary.
Good. So, I guess that was a very humbling moment for you.
Oh, yeah.
So, can you walk me through some strategies on how that was a very, I guess that was financial adversities.
Mm-hmm.
A lot were financial adversities and a lot were social adversity because you didn't have anybody to depend on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what were some of the biggest obstacles you encountered?
With that adversary, it brought up the trigger of having to ask for help, having to not seem like to pretend like everything is okay and that I have my shit together, and having to actually be very vulnerable and get out my comfort zone and reach out for help. That was one huge obstacle I had to overcome, because that's when I finally that's what was also a way that I got help out of this challenge, was reaching out to loved ones, reaching out to my sister, asking for help, and realizing that it's okay to ask for help and, put your pride aside when in time of need, reach out to people.
So, what strategies did you use to overcome these challenges?
Well, the good thing about moving to Calgary and being on my own is I finally had time to do the inner work. You guys remember that word from the first episode? I finally had time to sit with myself and reflect and, address some wounds and traumas. So the strategy I used was to overcome the obstacle, or
Yeah.
the strategy I used was making sure, was getting into some reflection and introspection and being able to get out of my comfort zone. So I would say, yeah, it's doing the inner work and also being able to come out of my comfort zone are two
Yeah.
strategies. Yeah.
So, what role did your mindset play in overcoming these challenges?
Well, like I was saying at the beginning, where at first, like any other human, it was like a whole roller coaster in a sense, because at first it's like confidence because I'm starting this new life, but then also, yeah, and like believing in myself, knowing I can do it. So was first with that, and then it fell to obviously some fear and self-doubt, but but then going back into the believing in myself and knowing that and trusting that I can get through this. So my mindset it played a big role because it was like it took me through my emotional roller coasters, but it was still, I would say it was always in that I was always in that curious mindset. I was always in that optimistic and what's that word? I just knew deep down inside that I was going to overcome this challenge, and there was no going back home. Like, there was no going back to Toronto. So yeah, that's the mindset played a big role as like deep down inside believing in myself. Yes, fear came in sometimes, but I knew I was going to get through this. I was going to grow through this.
And so, what are some things that you've learned in this experience?
That it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be in a vulnerable position. It's okay to not have your shit together sometimes. And that I learned that I can trust and believe in myself, because I did come back out on top. I did what I had to do. I connected with who I had to connect with. I got a job when I needed to, and I came out triumphant from this challenge.
Okay, so that kind of answers my next question, which is how has this adversity, how has this challenge shaped you as a person?
It helped me get more into my independence, for sure. Like, coming out of Toronto, that codependent Shireen that relied on family and always had someone by my side, whether it was always my sister or always my close friend. Coming, like, graduating from that Shireen to a Shireen that's finally starting to step into herself and be independent and and self-reliant.
Okay. So this is amazing, this experience, this challenge that you've overcome. So what's some advice that you would give someone facing a similar challenge?
I would say, like, just hearing my story, if this makes sense, like, you intentionally put yourself through that challenge for a reason, knowing that deep down inside, knowing that you will overcome it. It's just, I would say sometimes, like, external things social media, people around you, it can throw you out of remembering that like I can overcome this challenge. But it's getting back to remembering and that inner knowing that I'm growing through this challenge because I knew I can grow through this challenge. I knew I can come out on top. So my advice to you is to remember that this ain't anything you can't ain't anything you haven't done before, even if it seems like a new advanced challenge or whatever. This ain't nothing you have done before. You put yourself through this, so you are the one that can take yourself out.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I love the inspiration. So, what are some common challenges that people face in life?
Common, especially with what we're even growing, the whole collective is growing through right now, a financial crisis. Like, I feel like financial challenges for sure are like a huge one. Relationships. And yeah, I feel like those two are the main, like financial, relationships, and dealing with self.
So, how can someone develop resilience to overcome challenges?
Well,
How can someone develop resilience? How can we develop resilience to overcome challenges?
well, it falls back into the previous question I was talking about, where we were saying how does one overcome a challenge. It's the same thing. It's just getting back to that inner knowing and knowing that, like, okay, I put myself through this challenge. I trust that I can grow and come out of it. And make sure every time you come out of that challenge and you come out on top, after it beats you down to the ground, you make sure you celebrate yourself. And I feel like that's how you build your resilience. Every time you overcome a challenge, celebrate yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Love yourself. Nurture yourself, because some of these challenges be like, having you feeling like a baby, sucking your thumb, crying, curled up in a ball. Hold yourself after coming out of these challenges. And that's how you build resilience, because every time you celebrate yourself, you're affirming yourself and telling yourself that you are strong, that you are resilient, that you can do whatever you put your mind to.
So you mentioned a lot of people might be dealing with financial or relational issues, or let's just call them adversity, challenges.
Yep.
What is some advice you could give to people in relationships where they're having financial issues?
Well, I could talk a little bit from experience. It's good. It can take an effect for sure. Like, it's really hard, to sometimes have faith, because there's the answer to the question. It can be challenging sometimes to have faith in each other, like that we will get it together and that we'll figure it out, and that things are all working in favor. Yes, being human, sometimes we go against that, but it all comes back to remembering and trust and having faith too. That having faith in your partners, having faith in self, that like even when when one partner is down, that okay, maybe it's time for me to step up. Vice versa. Having faith that like you won't let, even when one partner's down, it's not letting that partner bring you down. It's it's bringing yourself up so that you can bring them up in the best way possible. And coming together, I feel like in these hard times, it's coming together and like focusing on solutions, focus on the solution, focus on the solution, focus on the solution, because it's so easy to get caught up with problems and get in your head about it, get scared, get caught get caught up in that low frequency of fear and worry and stress, and that takes a toll on relationships. Because again, I'm talking from experiences. It's so easy to let all those low vibrations pull both of you guys down, but you just have to remember, and you have to have faith, and you have to trust, and you have to focus on solutions.
Yeah. I think that about wraps this one up. I hope everybody enjoyed this talk, episode 2, on overcoming challenges. We're gonna enjoy the rest of the day.
It's a beautiful sunny day out here.
Yes, it's a beautiful fall, autumn day. So we wish you peace and love.
Peace and love. Again, if you guys enjoyed this episode and episode 1, feel free to start leaving comments of topics yourself that you would want Take What Resonates me and Ed to discuss in future episodes. And let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.